And she is, of course, the sister-in-law and former manager of the late, great Whitney Houston. Take a look. Pat Houston. Welcome to Rise 360, Pat. How are you?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
So happy to have you here with us. Now, we have to talk about your new book, A Better You. What inspired this book?
You know what? My daughter, my nieces, my goddaughters, you know, they're from the age range of 12 to 40, you know, and the young ones need mentoring and the older ones need life coaching. So with the experience of life, you know, I decided to just... write for them.
Yeah. And what event or person would you say shaped you the most throughout your childhood? Because I noticed there was a lot of back reference to the people that supported you and you paying it forward, if you will.
You know what? I grew up an only girl and I had 4 older brothers. The lineage of women that was around me was incredible. Very spiritual, very strong, hardworking. You know, and there were civil groups, and there were women in those civic groups that really admired what I was doing and paid attention to what I was doing, and they gave to me. And I just felt, you know, to do the same thing, giving back is very important.
It is. Now, you mentioned people generally go through a lot of challenges, and then they write these inspirational stories. What sort of challenges would you say you faced?
You know what? You're faced with challenges every day. It's how you channel yourself and deal with the challenges that you're faced with, and I learned that from my parents. I mean, really, come on, I'm a wife of almost 24 years, you know, and a mother of a 20-year-old. So, and then just life in itself. You know, you're faced with them, but you learn, you know, all the things that you learned growing up from your parents and other folk that were important to you. It just kind of stays with you. You know, so I always say it's the power in the name Jesus. How about that?
Yes, yeah. I love that.
So that's the reason.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about charitable efforts, you've also started a charity called Teen Summit. Is that correct?
Teen Summit started about 11 years ago, and actually Whitney and I started that. You know, you'll see her in the book, you know, at Teen Summit, and you know, we were blessed that she was able to come, you know, months before she passed. You know, it was her first time coming, but she was a part of that. And, you know, we just looked at the lives of the young people that was around us, and we started focusing in on, especially me, you know, CeCe Winans, who's a really good friend of Whitney. She had a charity called Always Sisters. And when we weren't touring or doing anything major, each year CeCe would host her charity. We would go down, and I would bring a group of girls down, and as well as Bobby Christina, to this Always Sisters, and it was very powerful. So we just decided to keep it moving, and we did, and I'm very happy that we did.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Can you share with me maybe an anecdotal story about one of these Teen Summits meetings?
You know what, I'll tell about the time that Tyler Perry came.
Oh, wow.
You know, each year we host an event in October in Shelby, North Carolina. That is where I'm from. You know, and I do it there because I want the young girls to know that you can always think outside of the box until there is no box. And I'm a neighborhood kid, a community kid that did think outside of the box, and then to move on with my life.
Transcended the box.
Yeah. Yes. You know, and to have people like the likes of Tyler Perry or Deborah Chase Martin.
Right.
And each year is powerful. And we did it for 10 years. And that's where A Better You came in. That this was one of our titles for the platform.
And I love the title.
Yeah, A Better You, you know, helping one to become a better self, you know. And, you know, all of the summits, all of the topics and everything were important. You know, so there's not just one. You know, it was all of them, you know.
Of course. Now, you are a very busy lady. So you mentioned touring with Whitney and all these other amazing things that you've done. How do you find the time to give back? Because you received the Lifetime Achievement Award from President Barack Obama. How do you find the time?
You know what? If it's important to you and if it's a passion, you make the time. And time is really all that we have. It's how you use it. You know, we can't be too busy for our youth, and a lot of times we are. A child should never have to ask, where are you? And that was one of our subjects. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that came from Bobby Christina. A child should never, you know, have to feel, you know, like there's a suffering silently, you know. So you find the time, and the balance is there, and you can do it. You can't be too busy shopping. You can't be too busy going to church. You can't be too busy working. You can't be too busy just hanging out. There are young people out there, and we are their solution, and we have to act like it. So when it comes to them, it's the time is there. It's yours. And with that 20-year-old daughter that I have that's in college right now, I'm still on it, you know. I'm still present. So you find the time and the balance. You just have to do it if it's your passion, and this is my passion, and that's why I'm here.
Speaking of passions, tell me about one of your other passions, Marion P. Candles.
Wow. Marion P., that's me.
Yes.
You know, a given name, Marion Patricia Watson, you know, Houston now. You know, Whitney was the only person that would ever call me Marion P. And she would always say, you know, when I look at you, it's all about gratitude. It's all about peace. It's all about kindness. It's all about love. She said, you should do something. I said, you can do it. She said, no, it would not be the same. She said, so we should do candles. And we came up with Marion P., inspired by Whitney Houston.
Ooh.
And, you know, we traveled to the Holy Land a few times. Well, I did. She only once. And we named the candles from names of the Holy Land: Tiberias, Jericho, Galilee, Jordana. So they're candles of peace. And I call them candles of peace because growing up, I had an auntie, Aunt Essie, that used to light a lantern at night. You know, when I was visiting her, she would light a lantern and she would read scripture at night with that lantern. And that lantern would give you the illusion that the room was candle lit.
Yes.
So that was the inspiring part as far as the candles were concerned. But Whitney was the person that pushed the idea. So inspired by Whitney Houston, and that's where the candle came from.
Again, another pillar of support or strength in your life. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
What would you say your favorite scent from the line is?
My favorite scent is Tiberias, ruby red grapefruit. Whitney's favorite scent was Noel. You know, and we did that because of her Christmas album, One Wish. Mm-hmm. She loved recording that album, and we were working with one producer that she absolutely loved, Gordon Chambers, who produced the title song, One Wish. And she always talked about Noel, you know, first Noel, and that was one of her favorite songs. So we named that candle Noel, and that was her favorite.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, what a great story. So what is next for Marion P.? You dominated the world of books, you dominated the world of candles. What's next?
You know what? It's a new chapter. You know, with our daughter, you know, being in school, you know, being married is a pill.
25 years. I mean, you're doing very well, is it?
Yeah, and you know, I'm like a caregiver, and I have always been, you know, helping others help themselves. Right. And now it's about me. You know, it's about me. So my next chapter I'm going to hit all the bucket lists that I've missed.
What's the top 5 on your bucket list?
The top 5, taking that ride on that the Golden Train around the Canadian Rockies.
Ooh.
My mother is 85, will be 86. Sissy is 84 and will be 85. I'm the only girl now that Whitney's gone with, and because we were surrounded by all men. She had 2 older brothers, I had 4, and we used to have this joke, you know, about being the youngest ones, but we were the leaders.
Oh, yes.
Don't let them hear that. But you know, it's about taking care of the moms. You know, as they get older, you never think that it's going to be you to have to do that.
Of course.
But it's a feeling of gratitude and thankfulness to be able to do it for both of them. And they both depend on you, from Sissy and my mom. So that bucket list requires more time with them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Family's very important to you, as it should be.
No, it is. And you know, you have, and also with Whitney's legacy and dealing with the fans, I want the fans to have what they want. You know, Whitney's fans are dynamic. You know, and I really didn't get to know a lot of them when she was here, but for the past 6 years almost, I've really gotten to know quite a few of them personally, and they're incredible. So she has wonderful fans. So I plan to do, you know, some great projects with her legacy, you know, to make them happy because they deserve to be.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much,
You're
Pat.
quite welcome.
Before you leave, you do have to tell us where we can purchase this amazing book.
Well, the book can be purchased on Kindle on Amazon.
Right.
And also you can go to MarionPBooks.com and purchase the book. And I will sign the book. Of course. So I have random book signings sometimes, in different places, and you just have to go to the website to find that out. But it's MarionPBooks.com.
Love that. And before you go again, the very last question, I do have to ask you about Whitney Houston's latest CD.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
You know what? That CD was extremely important because the very first song, you hear her speak, and she's speaking, and it's almost like she's speaking to you. But it was really the 25th anniversary of The Bodyguard. Last year was the 25th anniversary of The Bodyguard, and it was the biggest selling album ever.
Yes.
And she was such an iconic figure, and still, that album was important because a lot of the live music and that's on this particular CD were from performances that we just absolutely loved, and the fans. And they had a lot to do with it. They would call in, write in, to let you know, which performance they wanted to hear, and we did it.
So you reissued the CD. Basically.
We did.
That's
We
amazing.
did. It was all about The Bodyguard. From live music to remixes and from the original soundtrack.
Phenomenal stuff. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining me, Pat. It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine.
We'll be right back with more Rise 360.